Audio 4, EEP 32, The Glory of Human Life. Chapter on the Inanity of Intelligence. Human intellect is surely remarkable. Every now and then we see its trenchant potentials in resolving complicated issues, deciphering the challenging riddles. Its reach expands from the atoms and subtler particles to the limitless cosmos. It has analyzed and studied the biological diversity ranging from amoeba to dinosaurs. But it is surprising it never attempts self-analysis, never tries to research why he has been bestowed this marvelous brain and body. What is the purpose of his life? What is the best use of his life? This intelligent being holds excessive information about enormous things of the whole world. He attains erudite degrees, scholarships, and expertise of many disciplines, but he has no answer to the most intimate queries about himself. Who is he? What is his origin? Why has he come here? What are his duties? He lives in an illusory state like a deer, which frantically hunts for the source of the musk aroma that lies in its own navel. Man also keeps running behind the mirage of peace and joy in the outer world all his life, but gets nothing in the end except fatigue, failure, and despair. There is an interesting story illustrating this irony. 10 flaunting prattlers from a village once went to see a fair in another village across a small river. They all crossed the river together. Upon reaching the other bank, they thought of recounting whether all of them have reached safely. One of them counted and found only 9 present. Another one rechecked and again found one of them missing. This way, each one of them did count the person present as 9, missing himself in counting. In great panic, they all sat there, crying about what will happen now. How will they go back without the missing friend? After some time, a wise man happened to pass from there. He listened to their worries and laughed at their folly. To convince the chaps of their presence, he made them stand in a row and thrashed a slap on their face one after the other with loud counting, 1, 2, successively. The fellows took a sigh of relief after the 10th slap. We, the intelligent fools, are also like those comical chaps. We keep gathering information about every other thing, know everyone around except our own self. Even in this lost state, we live under the false impression, being learned and wise, and boast about our knowledge. The true grandeur of personality, next chapter. One could be regarded knowledgeable if, along with his expertise in the external disciplines of life and nature, he is also thorough with the inner domains and cares for inculcation and growth of the brighter qualities there too. This is essential towards the overall development of personality as well, because all of the abstractions in this direction and also most of the other difficulties and sufferings in life arise or expand because of the infirmities and flaws rooted in our mind. As we refine the inner personality and cultivate virtuous tendencies and good qualities, the blemishes and negative assimilation begin to wane and get uprooted in equal proportions. Consequently, life becomes straight, simple, and soothing. The piety and excellence of the inner substance is the key to the greatness of the personality. The more enlightened be one's inner nature and virtues, the greater would be his honored recognition. All the glittering prosperity, accessories, and elite clout of the world is dim and lighter as compared to the inner radiance of personality. The recognition and respect earned by worldly achievements does not last long, but the glory of great personalities remain immortal. One might gain physical potential or develop scholarly talents because of the bright intellect, but the development of his personality would remain incomplete if he lacks in inner qualities. The growth of inner virtues and righteous tendency also facilitates success of the attempts of progress on the external front. The immense peace and unalloyed happiness experienced by the complete development is peerless. Gamut of all other joys and success is always lesser than this unique asset. The personalities endowed with the treasure of inner virtues can guide and lead many others along the path of noble rise. They might be poor fakirs, but the elite affluents, the owners of the palatial estate, also fall in their feet and beg for their help and blessings. If in spite of being born as humans, we can't pay attention on essence of our inner qualities and virtuous development, then what is the difference between us and the other members of the vertebrate family? That way, animals are even better because they at least pass their bhog yoni as per the laws of nature and depart with reduced burden of negative bhogas. Man, on the other hand, keeps increasing this burden by unethical conduct and misusing the freedom of karma. Perverted with the path of religion, he even makes his life worse than the hell. Who is to be blamed if one chooses to lose the bit of life, despite having the key to limitless treasure hidden in the inner self? Next chapter. Most ordinary life should also strive for success. Most of us, the common people, do not, in general, set any goal in life. The routine chores of earning, eating, raising the family, social and professional dealings define the major course of our lives. However, even in this most ordinary life, we could achieve a lot. We just need to alter our attitude. Austerity and content are the basis of happy life even in economically constrained conditions. If we adopt them and pay attention in inducing moral discipline, culture, and scientific thinking in the children, rather than assembling luxuries for them, we could easily fulfill our responsibilities and live happily in most ordinary and financially restrained life as well. Simple lifestyle with planned and industrious routine give ample opportunities of success. It would be ideal if our time and efforts are devoted to inner development and altruistic service too. This alone would lead to an accomplished life that could be an example for many others to follow. Failures, worries, challenges, adversities are part of the game of life. Those who face them without fears, anxiety, despair, cowardice, confusion, and lethargy are instead nurture, hope, and zeal and forward-looking approach are the winners. One who lives and dies with peace, satisfaction, and natural smile is truly successful in life, even though he may not have gained much name, fame, and wealth. On the contrary, one is the biggest loser in human life if he has spent it with tension, jealousy, competition, passion, and complaining and crying. He can't hope for any success in life. We all should note this and attempt improving our attitude and lifestyle towards a fulfilling and successful life from today instead. Next chapter. Inner bliss is the measure of success. From outside, one's life might glitter of high achievements and enormous cheers, but this alone does not confirm his happy success in life. Only the soothing fragrance of inner joy and the bliss indwelling in one's life could be a universal measure of his genuine success. This incense arouse and spread along with the inner virtues. This is what sprinkles the real beauty of life in every dimension. In reality, peaceful happiness is synonymous with the blossoming beauty and fruition of life. A life even endowed with all prosperity and sophisticated comforts, treasure of pearls and jewels, will be beautyless, like dead, if there is no inner happiness and natural enthusiasm in it. Plush bungalows, cars, decorated rooms, ornamental dresses, gold, diamonds, etc. might appear attractive from the outside, but these do not possess any peace or joy in themselves. If there was any such source in these materialistic means, people possessing all these would not have been found suffering from pain, tensions, depressions, and worries, and running their lives in addictions. The fact is that one could experience a joy in the extremely supportive circumstances only if his mind and heart contain the natural sense of happiness. The delight of life does not lie in materialistic prosperity or intellectual achievements, etc. Its roots blossom in the soil of the enlightened inner self. The beauty and the success of life grows in proportion with the piety, simplicity, generosity of thinking, sentiments, conduct, and nature. In the inner domains of the life are maligned with vices, prejudice, blemishes, then one can't regard beautiful, even if his body build, mannerism, overall looks, and lifestyle is charming and magnificent. Instead, the life of a simple, illiterate, penniless fellow would prove to be beautiful and nice if he is courteous, compassionate, courageous, and possesses serene beauty and bliss of the soul in his heart. Next topic. The The delusion of flattering the Almighty. Some people look for quick wins in life without deserving anything. They want to become wealthy and powerful without any hard work. Instead of walking along the straight path to the desired goals, they keep trying shortcuts and often get lost in the middle. The approach of sycophancy in praying and worshiping God is tried by such people who think that the Omnipotent will fulfill all their demands or bless them with boons in return of their sincere rituals of worship, devotional songs, prayers, and thy praise. This way, they seem to be trying to please and bribe the Almighty by means of offerings in worship and praying, as though these looking for their adoration. For many others, flattering God is thy devotion. They mechanically perform the rituals of worshipping thy idols, and touching its feet, chant some religious hymns and prayers, and assume this as the end of their duties assigned by thou. Many aspirants even blunder thinking this alone, extended for longer stretches of time as the source of salvation too. But such exercises or tricks and plays give them nothing except engaging their time and efforts. Soon the devotees of the above categories are disappointed and lose faith in thy grace. Their drama ends in changing the mode of worship or approaching some other deity, becoming a theist. It is indeed our immature thinking, our narrow mind that interprets thy manifestation so absurdly. God is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. All that exists within and beyond the limits of existence is encompassed in thou concept. Thy disciplines are absolute representation of justice and pious wisdom. Thy blessings and love are preserved for those saintly, virtuous, and altruist personalities who are devoted to adapt transactions of the duties assigned by thou. These are also bestowed as inspirations and inner strength upon those who sincerely endeavor to follow the righteous path. One's inner virtues, piety, and good conduct and noble deeds alone, and not the rituals or worship, can link his heart with the subliminal realms of thy expression and enable his prayers reach there. God has gifted us human life with the important assignment of protecting, maintaining, and beautifying the garden of the world, to keep it growing and blossoming in the shelter of nature. Thou hast certainly not bestowed this rare opportunity for just singing thy adoration, crying, and bending the head in the shrines, and decorating and worshipping thy idols with enormous religious offerings. The infinite order of thee only sees how and what we do in the physical, mental, and emotional domains of our life at personal, social, or professional levels. There is no time or place in thy system to keep record of who praised or chanted thy name how many times. One's intrinsic nature, thoughts, and deeds, and not the games of rituals and worshipping matter there. Thy law compares every one along one absolute scale and sees who could adopt and expand the virtuous dignity of humanity by their moral discipline, sincerity, and noble deeds, and who wane and malign it by ignorant, perverted, and evil thoughts and acts. We could reach and experience the intimacy of thy love only by moral refinement of our life. We should also remember that God helps only those who help themselves. Sycophancy, tricks of flattering and begging are of no use there. No other attempt without deserving could get us thy grace. It should be noted that the rituals or religious practices of worshipping and devotional singing, etc., are only symbolic modes to help inspire and concentrate our mind upon thy manifestations. These are meant to prevent the excessive passions and diversions of mind and induce its faith in the absolute law and protection of thee. These also conditions to it to adopt greater purity, integrity, prudence, and courage. However, these are only initial practices like those of teaching in the childhood. It should be noted that these could only support initial steps of our forward journey, but can't help us reach the goal of thy realization and beatitude. These are only two modes, two measures of receiving thy grace. First, how much we succeed in inculcating purity, generosity, honesty in our sentiments, our thinking, character, behavioral conduct, and action. Second, what we contribute towards altruist welfare towards the maintenance, amelioration, and blossoming growth of thy garden spread everywhere in this world. Next topic, enormous boons of the deity of life. Many people are found practicing several kinds of fasting, worshipping, prayers, meditational devotion, etc. for different forms of gods and goddesses in order to get rid of the adversities and sacrifices or ill omen, etc., and get some light of peace and joy in their lives. They expect solace and divine help via these religious remedies. How many of them succeed and to what extent is difficult to assess. We can decipher the sublime system of divine powers. We can only pray and endeavor devotional sadhanas. In a helpless state of agony, when one calls thee through the depths of his pure heart, thy shelter and grace certainly reaches for his rescue and support in the tragic moment. But the serenity of deep faith and purity of heart are the key factors here too. Who stands where, with respect to these time-testing criteria, is again hard to predict. Most of the devotees and aspirants of divine blessings are often seen disappointed and with shaking faith. However, they should leave out all despair and illusions and note that there is indeed one Devta on this earth whose sadhana never goes in the vain. This divine source never disappoints its devotees and bestows thy grace without any delay. We don't have to search long and wide in finding this unique Devta. It is our inner intimate deity, the deity of life. The sadhana inspired by and devoted to this Devta is like a kalpavriksha, which fulfills all intrinsic desires of everyone who comes under its shelter. Thus, the golden key available with us is to practice Jivan Sadhana, devotion of a deity of life by sincere endeavors of moral improvement, adept management, and virtuous progress of our own self and its domains of expansion and interactions. The earlier one realizes and understands this fact, the luckier he would prove to be in all horizons of life. All the worth, bequests, victories, and ecstasies associated with the human life are accessible to just far-sighted wise people. Most ordinary ones could also attain immortal glory by this Jivan Sadhana. Mahatma Gandhi was lean in physique and had no exceptional talents till his young age, but the sadhana of the deity of life arose such an astonishing power in his man of 98 pounds of body and ordinary background that uprooted the mighty British reign without violence and wrote an epochal chapter in the annals of the world history. The great leaders like Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, George Washington, etc. were also most ordinary and deprived in the earlier phase of their life. Their Jivan Sadhana exalted their excellence to unimaginable heights. Ample examples reflecting the radiance of Jivan Sadhana can be found in every discipline. The edifying minds of Sir C.V. Raman, Jagdish Chandra Bose, Albert Einstein, Madame Curie, Thomas Edison, Karl Marx, etc. did not have to worship or beg before any god for their scientific and intellectual achievements. The sparkling advancement of science and technology seen everywhere today is an outcome of only 10% of the true potentials of human mind aroused by adopting Jivan Sadhana in part. Just imagine the miraculous impact of activating the remaining 90% as well. As the orbital motion and energy of the cosmos is minimally symbolized within an atom or the blueprint of the tree is coded in its seed, the same way the infinite powers of thee are subliminally hidden in the human beings. These remain dormant in normal course of ignorant, astray, or perverted life. If aroused by dedicated Jivan Sadhana, these are expressed as Riddhis and Siddhis. The Rishi Muni Yogis and Siddhis accomplish these angelic attainment by their beatified Jivan Sadhana. In ordinary case, the state of human life is like an extinguishing ember that is shrouded by thick layer of ash. But once this ash is removed, the ember begins to glow and radiate burning heat. Jivan sadhana adduced similar recharging in the human self, the otherwise dormant fraction of the divinity immanent in it begins to manifest. With this arousal, a unique magnetic force is generated in the sadhak, which attracts the compatible cooperation, commodities, and circumstance substantial for his ascent and success. This is as natural as the force of attraction of the trees that pull the clouds to and shower rains, the mutual affinity of the particles of the metal beneath the earth's surface that results in enriching its stalks in the mines, or the fragrant pollen of the flowers that charms the honeybees, butterflies, and the hummingbees. In a similar way, though subliminally, the vivid magnetism induced by accomplishing Jivan Sadhana invokes divine powers and invites their blessings to bestow upon sadhak's life. Next topic. Listen to the inner voice. Nobody wants a downfall in the field of worldly life. Everyone desires to progress, move up as compared to others in his society. Because of the ego-driven tendency of human self, most people want to see or prove themselves as the best among others of their standard and attempt demonstrating their superiority in varieties of ways. The aspiration to excel is human nature, but it does not get proper direction as one does not know the real goal, the adept aim of his life. Most people don't even think about it. Most of the remaining ones who are somewhat conscious about the state of their life can usually go deep into the search of an answer. In this situation, the great potentials and abilities associated with human life remain ideal or go haywire by haphazard spread. The inner urge of ascent remains concealed. It wants to be expressed, but our extrovert mind ignores its subtle voice because of the external attractions and worldly desires. The inner voice thus gets suppressed and gradually insulated from the expressed sense of self-esteem in the individual self. We all should note that the source of the divine powers is present in our heart, in our inner self. The sublime impulses of divine inspiration and messages constantly reach in its inner core. We can grasp these spiritual signals if we listen to our inner voice. These can indeed motivate and guide the refinement and sharpening of our intellect, arousal of self-confidence and deep wisdom, and growth of our virtues by which we can enrich our assets of punya. But the pressures of trishna and vasana bubbling in our mind do not let it reach our conscious self. We thus remain ignorant and lost along the slippery shortcuts and enslaved in the entangled web of miseries and corruption. The inner voice is so delicate and subtle that it could be easily suppressed by the noise of extrovert activities, but it is so clear and unperturbed that there could be no confusion and misunderstanding in its interpretation once we listen to it. If we pay little attention and ponder over it in a state of meditation or carefully attempt listening to it, it would soon become sharper and the divine messages indwelling in it would be deciphered. This will convey us the true aims of life and also decode the straight and righteous path of absolute ascent.